So this video is just to conclude the things on euthanasia because the video cut off. So last thing you know about is Jewish views and then sort of humanist or alternative views about why euthanasia could be okay. So the Jewish views. So the Jewish views focus on, number one, about the fact that Jews are against it. They see it as murder. It goes against what God taught them, about the fact that that all life is sacred, thou shalt not kill, and there's a time to live and a time to die. So therefore, it's called generally Jews would reject all types of euthanasia and say that somebody dying should receive palliative care. The second part of this is that what's called Jews have mixed views on turning off life support machines, and some see it as being euthanasia and others do not. Okay, so the reason for this is that different Jews interpret or teachers in different ways. So some Jews, all right, would say that when it comes to the therefore on this, right? So therefore, some Jews would say that turn off a life support machine when there was no chance of a person surviving or expected to die within 72 hours would be acceptable, whereas others would say, actually, no, that would be euthanasia. And they would say that it would only be allowed to turn off a life support machine if you continue to provide the patient with water and with food, okay, with sort of nutrients, that type of idea. So that's sort of the Jewish view in it, to say that against it, that murder, that type of thing. The second point being that some see life support, what's called turn off a life support machine, is euthanasia, whereas others do not. Now, if it comes up as an evaluation question, something like the law on euthanasia in the UK should be changed, you draw upon the Catholic views, you draw upon the Jewish views, you also need to draw upon non-religious views. So you could say what's called that, they start off with the humanist view. So humanist views that they believe is morally acceptable. The reason for this is that they don't believe in sort of like the sanctity of life or anything like that, it's called like that, and they believe that whilst human life is important and valuable, it's the quality of life is what's more important than anything else, okay? So if a person's quality of life is really reduced, they have no chance of recovery, and they're in pain, then euthanasia should be allowed, okay? So they would support things like Dignitas or Exit, which are sort of organisations that provide euthanasia in some countries in Europe. What you could say is that another reason why some people support euthanasia is that they use sort of religious views, and some liberal Christians do this as well. They would say that maybe euthanasia is allowed because it can end suffering, and this is because the teaching love thy neighbour, it sort of fulfills that. If you're looking out for somebody by ending their pain and suffering, that's a loving action, so therefore fulfills Jesus' teaching. So therefore these people may argue that euthanasia should be allowed if the person's quality of life is really reduced, if they're in pain, if they're in suffering, that sort of stuff, because it's a loving action. Okay, so there we go.